Good evening. It's August 21st, 22nd, August 22nd, the day after my birthday. It's around midnight. So tonight I'm going to talk about filing a disability claim. For me, um, well, for you, I guess, you want to file a claim on e-benefits. You don't have to use a VSO or the DAV. I found it particularly easier for me to do it all myself than to go through a third party, or to an attorney, which they can collect like 30% of your back pay. Now, all it takes, the first and most important thing I think before you file a claim is to have an actual diagnosis of what you're filing. And when you file your claim, make sure that you have everything that you want to file in that one claim. Because if you end up having to add anything to that claim, it more than likely will set you back, a longer period than what it usually would if you would have just, like I said, do it all at one time. On top of filing the claim, you also want to include your statement in support of claim and how your disabilities affect your daily life. I talked about this on the Facebook group, but someone mentioned that, and they're right. The raters do not understand, they don't know you. From Adam and Eve, they do not know you. So they need to get to know you on paper. And also, when you file your claim, even if it's the VA doctors that have determined the disability, still get all your test results and your evaluation results and all your lab results, and include that in your claim. You just want to have that all together for them to make a quick decision. Now, remember, the people that are making the rating on your claim are human, and there are human factors that involve in your claim, and they're also finding the possibility of fraud. So that's probably their biggest thing is to look for any fraudulent claims going on. So if you're one of the unlucky ones, you will get asked, they will deny your claim, either all of it or partial, or defer it. So when I talk about that, when they deny your claim, I would always suggest filing a notice of disagreement instead of a reconsideration. Now, filing a notice of disagreement may take longer, but they are required to back pay you from your original file date. When you file a reconsideration, they do not have to pay you from the original file date. Now, they may, but they really truly do not have to. Also, so you have now filed your notice of disagreement. Well, in my personal experience, it took 3.5 years for them to do anything with the claim. But what I did was I elected to get a telephone hearing by a DRO, and I would find that more faster. I would find that faster than asking for a regular review board to review your claim. And what happens is that the DRO at the local VBA, they will call you and they will talk about your claim. They will also email you, and sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But it is very hard to get a hold of the VBA. I have noticed that some VAs have their own office at their local VA hospital where you can call the VBA and talk to someone about your claim directly. Now, I had the opportunity to actually see the number they were calling, and I wrote that number down, and I called that number from my house almost every other day, and I made sure that they were on top of my claim. I also wrote and actually spoke to the congressman's liaison that does everything for veterans to your local VBA. And what the congressman will need is a form filled out by them. So you go to your congressman and you tell them what's going on, and they'll have you a release of information for you to sign. Then they will contact their point of contact at the VBA, their local VBA. They know all exactly how to do everything, and they will put that into a congressional status of some sort, just like your Social Security. It will happen the same way. So if everything's taken so long to do, go to your congressman, even if it's with Social Security disability as well. So, so always file a notice of disagreement, and then, of course, make sure you date it. So when will you get your back pay if they make a favorable decision on your claim? I got my back pay before I got my award letter. And you want to keep your award letter in a safe place, just like you do your marriage certificates, your birth certificates, your Social Security cards. You want to make sure that's all in there in one packet. I should keep mine in a fireproof box, which I have and I've been meaning to do. But that is the safest place. You can also, just like your DD-214, you can also go to your local courthouse and file it there, and they will keep that on record, your DD-214. So with that said, you do your research on what you need to do when filing a claim, and I just find it the best when you do it the way that I suggested. I did use the DAV to first do my claims, but when I realized that they're dealing with so many veterans, it's better to do things yourself. And I always say, if you want to do something right, do it yourself. And if it takes if you're very disabled and it's hard for you to get around, you can sign your power of attorney over to someone that you love or you trust to do all this paperwork for you. And it's as simple as that. Now the wait time is horrendous. You can end up in homeless shelters. You can end up in crappy places. But I also want to tell you that if you're in a place and you're waiting for disability, you can also use the HUD VASH program. So if you don't have any felonies or anything like that, you can use the HUD VASH program. And using the HUD VASH program is very, very unique. And what it does is, like, my father is on the HUD VASH program, and there was over 1,000 people on the waiting list, and my father got to the #1 spot just because using the HUD VASH. So there is very, very good outcomes using a HUD VASH program. And depending on what you're making at the time, I think you can only make so much money a year, like $20,000 a year, to use a HUD VASH program or something. You have to do the research yourself on that, but at every clinic and every hospital, they have a coordinator for the HUD VASH program. So if you need a house, they're the ones that do it. And also your social worker. If you need to speak to a social worker, then do that. And if you need marriage counseling, the VA does not do that much, but I do notice that vet centers, they are kind of a part of the VA, but the vet centers they do marriage counseling too as well. So on that note, you guys have a good night. I'm going to be making another video about my urgent care experience tonight and what's going on with that. So you guys have a good night.